Good morning. Today is Friday. It's Yutes Adar Sheni Tavshin Ayin Daled. We're in Teiras Menachem Sefer Mamar Tavshin Yud Aleph Tavshin Yud Beis in the Mamar of Yud Aleph Nissen Tavshin Yud Beis Adnai Sfosai Tiftach. We're on page Reish Samach in the beginning of Ois Hey. Okay. Before we go into this, let's try to have a look at a piece from Eir HaTorah. Eir HaTorah was written by the Tzemach Tzedek. And over here there's a section where he explains Shemona Esrei. Baruch, Ata, Hashem. He goes through the different parts. This is, I believe, based on the Zohar, and it's based on the Kisvei HaArizal, the writings of the Arizal. It gets rather technical. I'm going to try to extract the salient points relevant to our situation here. Baruch, blessing. Right? What's the idea of Baruch?
Bring down.
Extend.
Bring down.
Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong page. Where are we here? Baruch Atah Hashem. To bring down. We're asking that there should be a revelation of Ein Sof, God's infinite light, which is beyond Hishtalshalus, beyond the chain order of creation. Baruch, draw down, Ata, you, Hashem, who is beyond the chain order of creation, in Hashem. Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is Seder Hishtalshalus. Yud is Chochmah, Hey is Bina, Vav are the Midas, and the final Hey is Malchus. That's Baruch Atah Hashem. So we're asking for an additional...
That's that which is above Yud Kei Vav Kei to
come down into the... That's Baruch Atah Hashem.
Right.
I'm really distilling it, okay?
You don't have to.
Elokeinu v'Elokei Aviseinu. Elokeinu is Bina.
Vavos.
Let's first just say, define Elokeinu as Bina. Elokei Aviseinu is Chochmah. The Vav of Ve'Elokeinu, it says Elokeinu, Ve'Elokei Aviseinu, right? The connecting Vav is Das. Bina, Chochmah, Das. Bina, Chochmah, and Das. Why Bina?
Say that again. Elokeinu
Is Bina. Ve'Elokei Aviseinu. So the Elokei Aviseinu part is Chochmah. The Vav of Ve'Elokeinu, I'm sorry, the Vav of Ve'Elokei Aviseinu is Das. Elokeinu is Bina. Elokei Aviseinu is Chochmah. The Vav of Ve'Elokei Aviseinu is Das. So that is...
the right order.
It's not in the right order, and he says over here, if you want to know why it's in that order, you got to look up Pri Etz Chaim, the portal of Rosh Hashanah.
Okay.
All right? Let's just take it as read. In other words, what are we talking about? The unity of Meichen. Yichud Avo, basically. Then, Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov. Avraham is
Chochmah usually.
Chesed. Avraham is Chesed.
Avram.
Avraham is Midas HaChesed. Yitzchak is Gvura, and Yaakov is Tiferes. That's the way it is.
Yeah,
Okay. What's Elokei Avraham? Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov? That means, literally, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. It means the Moichin of Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes. The source, as it were, of Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes. To be drawn down into Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes. Hakeil Hagodel Hagibur V'Hanoira. He also explains why, in fact, it says Ve'elekei Yaakov with a Vov. Okay? Get to that in a minute. Hagadol Hagibur v'Hanoira is the yichud of Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferes. Okay? Then you have Keil Elyon Gem Chasadim Tovim. Keil Elyon Gem Chasadim Tovim is the idea of drawing down Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferes of Zah. I'm sorry, to draw down, to make there should be hashpah in nihi, and that's a chayd in Yesod. That's Keila and Gem Chasadim Tovim. In the chain order of creation, in the spheres of Atzilus, right? There is the hashpah, the divine energy that comes into Atzilus for the purpose of Atzilus, and then there's divine energy that comes into Atzilus for the purpose of onward transmission to Bri, Yitzir, and Asiyah. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Chochma, Bina, Das, Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferes are the divine attributes as they relate to Atzilus themselves, to Atzilus itself. Netzach, Hoyd, and Yesod, although they are part of the Esespheres of Atzilus, their job is already to take the divine energy of Atzilus and to transmit it onwards. Netzach and Hoyd, in the image of the body, are the two kidneys, Kleos Yeratzos, and Yesod is the part of the body that transmits onwards, from which procreation takes place, and so on and so forth. Okay? So Netzach, Hoyd, and Yesod is the idea of onward transmission from Atzilus onto Biyah. For that to happen, you need a divine energy which is higher than Atzilus, higher than that which was brought into Atzilus on its own. Why? Because the din is there's an expression in the Talmud, Dayei she'afkiyas atzmai, that if the task or if the responsibility is great enough, it's enough for the one that is responsible for him to exempt himself. It's daunting enough that way. In order to also have to exempt someone else or to transmit onwards, for that you need a greater power, right? That's Keil Elyon. Keil Elyon is the idea of Keser, drawing down a new energy from Keser for the purpose of what? Goimel Chasadim Tovim, right? To contribute to whom? To Chasadim Tovim. Who's Chasadim Tovim? That's Netzach and Hoyd. The Kabbalistic term that I'm trying to drive at from all of this is Lahamshich Nehi Chadoshim. The Arizal writes, in the writings of the Arizal, which the Rebbe is going to quote, there's the idea of drawing down new Nehi, new Netzach, Hoyd, and Yesod. What does it mean, new? New energy into Netzach, Hoyd, and Yesod, in addition to what Netzach, Hoyd, and Yesod possesses as being part of Atzilus. So you have the 10 divine attributes of Atzilus, as they are in Atzilus themselves, for the purpose of the existence, of the animation, the giving vitality, as it were, divine energy to the realm of Atzilus, to Elam Atzilus. But then you need to be able to take that and to transmit it onto Biyah. The task where that begins with Netzach, Hoyd, and Yesod. And in order for them to fulfill that job, they need an additional infusion of strength, more energy, more power, in order to go downwards and lower. And for that you need Keil Elyon. You need a new and higher energy to be drawn down from Atzilus, from Keser, which is Keil Elyon, Goimel, in order to contribute to bestow onto whom? Chasadim Tovim, Nehi Chadoshim, in other words, new energy into Netzach, Hoyd, and Yesod. Koine HaKoil, which is the idea of Hashem being present everywhere, also in Bri, Yitzir, and Asiyah. And from there we come on to the 12 middle brachas of Shemona Esrei, where you can take this energy, transmit it down below, and our needs and our prayers are granted. This is the Kabbalistic construct of Shemona Esrei. Let's leave it at that, okay? Otherwise, we're just going to get carried away. Now let's try to do this inside. Chapter 5, page Reish Samach. We did the first few lines. We'll do it again. With the above, we will understand what's with the above. Where the Rebbe explained that there's tefillah arichta. The concept of tefillah arichta, long prayer, means a person who prays in a state of total bittul, total nullification, whereby he is, as it were, repeating Hashem's words. In other words, what is he doing? In other words, it means that saying Hashem's praises is a metaphor, if you will, for the hashpoas, the divine energy being transmitted from above to below. So there is the transmission of the divine energy from above to below, which depends more on the individual, on the human being. Which means to say he is the one that tries to reach up and to draw that down, to initiate that process, to touch those levels above and to draw them down. But then there is a situation where, rather than the person triggering that, Hashem triggers that, and the person, as it were, links into it, and he repeats, if you will, or he receives that energy from above. That's roughly the interpretation. With the above, we'll understand that the concept of tefillah arichta and bittul masha emri ma pasuk Adnai Sfosai Tiftach. Why we say this verse of Hashem, open my lips, specifically before the Amidah prayer, rather than what? Before the whole davening. Because the idea of the 12 middle brachas, the 12 middle blessings of the Shemona Esrei of the Amidah, who at tefillah shalash begashmias, is the prayer for the divine flow to come down to manifest in physical phenomena. That Hashem should bless the ears and cure the ill in the physical sense. In order for the divine energy to manifest itself and to come down into physical phenomena, as is, there needs to be this aspect of the long prayer as mentioned before. The Rebbe goes on to explain, how does this work out Kabbalistically? The beginning of the Shemona Esrei of the Amidah, we say, Keil Elyon, the celestial God, as it were. What is that? And then we say, and he brings the Redeemer to the offspring of the offspring. By the way, who are the Bonim? The Midas. Right? Who are the Bnei Bonim? Specifically, Bonim are the offspring of Chacham bin and Das. Specifically, we're talking about Chesed, Gvur, and Tiferes. Bnei, the grandchildren, is Netzach Hayit and Yisoid. As we just mentioned, what's the idea? So the Rebbe is going to explain this. So we say, Hainu, Hamshochas Nehi Chadoshim. When we say Keil Elyon and Mevigoy Livnei V'neihem, this is the idea of drawing down new Nehi. What does it mean, new Nehi? New energy, new divine energy into Netzach Hayit and Yisoid of Atzilus. Shezehu Keil Elyon. What is the idea of Keil Elyon, the celestial God? Ha'hamshocha mebchinas haKeser. This is drawing down the divine energy, new divine energy, from Keser, the level which is beyond the chain order of creation. For the purpose of what? Of Nehi Chadoshim, to bring new energy into Netzach Hayit and Yisoid, for onward which are also called Bnei B'neiim, the grandchildren, because they are the children of, as it were, the offspring of Chesed, Gvur, and Tiferes, who in turn are the offspring of Chachma bin and Das. So they're the grandchildren. Right? The offspring of the offspring. This is also brought in the writings of the Arizal. Adnai Sfosai Tiftach. Similarly, we find a similar interpretation to this in the writings of the Arizal, in his interpretation of the verse Adnai Sfosai Tiftach, Hashem, open my lips. The Adnai hu b'chinas Malchus. Adnai is a reference to the level of Malchus, the lowest of the 10 attributes. Sfosai hem b'chinas Netzach v'Hoid. My lips, these are Netzach and Hoid. Tiftach hu b'chinas Tiferes. Tiftach refers to the level of Tiferes. Upi, the mouth, hem nehi chadoshim. So in other words, P is what? The new nehi that we're just referring to. That needs for the armor transmission to the lower levels. The inyan zeh ba mebchinas haKeser, all this comes from the level of Keser, shehu ha'alef sheba Adnai, which is the Aleph of Adnai. Kimevur b'sidr, as the Alter Rebbe explains in Sidr, the Ikar Adiyuk, that the main emphasis who Aleph Sheba Adnai is on the Aleph in the word Adnai. The Aleph who Pele, Aleph is the same letters as Pele, which means wonder, B'chinas Pele Elyon, it means the celestial wonder. What does that mean in the Kabbalistic terminology in terms of levels? Shu b'chinas HaKeser, this is a reference to the level of Keser, Shelamayla B'chachma Bina, which is beyond the level of Chachma Bina. So in other words, Adnai Sfosai Tiftach is really Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei Aviseinu, what we say at the beginning of the Amidah, but in reverse order. That's the idea of the person becoming bottle. It's the person's bittul into all these levels.
Say that again. Did you say?
That Adnai Sfosai Tiftach, the verse Adnai Sfosai Tiftach is the idea of Malchus de Atzilus, Nehi de Atzilus,
The reverse order of what that follows.
It's the reverse order of Baruch Atah Hashem.
I see. Yeah.
That's the reason why we say before Shemoneh Esrei is the person becoming nullified and being this bottle, nullifying himself to all these divine levels of Atzilus going up and up, and in turn, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei Aviseinu, that divine energy is bestowed. Now the Rebbe goes on and touches. It's a very Kabbalistic. I mean, this is a bit, it's an unusually Kabbalistic for Mamar of the Rebbe, as it were. V'amshachosehu bebina. This is drawn down. Keser comes first into Bina, as we mentioned before. Also in what? In Shemoneh Esrei. Elokeinu v'Elokei Aviseinu. Elokeinu is Bina. V'Elokei Aviseinu is Chochmah. And the Vav is the connector. So this Keser is drawn down in Bina. Kemaimer his galus atik bebina, because as the Kabbalah says, again without going into the whole discussion, we discussed it previously also, but in previous Mamar, but we'll just leave it as said. The revelation of atik, the revelation of the inner dimension of Keser, is specifically where? In the sphere of Bina of Atzilus. And here the Rebbe goes into the connection between this Maimer and Yud Aleph Nisan of that year.
Why?
Again, I said we'll leave it as it is. I'm not going to go into the explanation now because it's too arichas and too intricate. We discussed it in one of the previous Mamarim, I believe in Vavram Zoken. We discussed it quite at length. Which aspect is revealed in Chachma, which aspect is revealed in Bina. Let's leave it for a moment. So, now the Rebbe goes in to the connection between this Maimer and 50, because this is the Kapitel Tehillim, it's from the chapter in Tehillim from the Rebbe's 50th birthday. So he says, V'zeu inyan, so it's revealed in Bina, V'zeu inyan ben chamishim la'etza. This is the idea, it says in Pirkei Avos that when one turns 50, la'etza, he comes to the level of etza, of advice. The etza hu inyan kleis yoyatzos. What's the idea of etza? Is the idea of the kidneys, yoyatzos, that advise. Right? This is a lashon from the Gemara in Brachos, but as mentioned before, the idea when we talk about Nehi transmitting on its energy to the lower realms, there are the kloyes, the two kidneys, and then there's the actual transmission, which is through Yesod, right? Which is basically the idea. The kloyes are the ones that articulate the divine energy for onward transmission to Bia. So the kloyes, the kidneys, is bechinas netzach v'hoid. These in the metaphysical sense, the kidneys refer to the two divine attributes of netzach and hoid. Hainu. So again, 50 etza is a reference to nehi chadoshim, new nehi, right? Shezen nimshech dafke al de bechinas chamishim shari bina. This is specifically transmitted and drawn down through the level of the 50 portals of Bina. And which one specifically? Shara Chamishim Shalamayla Mishtal Shalus. We're talking about the 50th portal, which is beyond completely all of the chain order of creation. Okay, this also, and as it's mentioned concerning this, concerning Moshe Rabbeinu, one second, concerning Moshe Rabbeinu, it says that he was buried on Har Nevoi. So it says it says what's Nevoi? Nevoi is a combination of two words, Nun Boy. 50 is in him. What does it mean 50 is in him? Until Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, until the day he passed away, he only merited the 49 portals of Bina. On the day he passed away, Nun Boy. He merited also what? The 50th portal of Bina. Right? And what happened? The upper ones, it says that when Moshe Rabbeinu went out to Har Nevoi, the Yidden said, we're not going to allow Hashem to take him away. Right? So they went up to get him. When they went up to get him, it appeared to him that Moshe Rabbeinu was down. When they went down, he appeared as going up. What does that mean? So they couldn't get a hold of him. We can say the explanation of this is he was completely beyond being categorized as above or below. And that's why, wherever you were, he appeared to be someplace else. Okay, we're going to have to stop. I wanted to finish it today. We'll go back on Sunday and we'll articulate this more barichas and hopefully we'll... Kesser.